Welcome to another. Yes, everybody, we have scones in front of us, but we're going to continuation of our unboxing of the ASUS MAXIMUS 7 Hero LGA 1150 Intel Z97 HDMI with a SATA 6, of course, with the newest standards, 6 gigabytes per second, and USB 3.0 and an ATX board. By the way, it's not a mini ATX board. And there we go. There is a very, very nice finished matte on. No, not me, Matt, but the finish of the box. And look at that. It has a window inside. So this would be even cool to build your computer inside the box if you're ever thinking of that, like an inbox type of situation. Here's all our information about our networking. Well, what I have seen in some of these situations is these networking inboards that are embedded to like optimize for gaming. You can have some issues with your Ethernet, so you can disable that within the software. And you may want to do a firmware upgrade, which is always suggested to work out those bugs. So let's go ahead and look at our Intel CPU that we ended up grabbing. Was an i7 core Haswell quad core with 3.5 gigahertz per second, and it turbos at 3.9. It is an LGA 1150 socket series. And it is compatible with that motherboard, by the way. It is a desktop with the Intel HD graphics of the 4800, and we're going to go ahead and install this thing right now. So we're going to take a quick pause. That shows some of our 16 gigabytes, I believe. Right?
2 8.
Okay, yeah, there's 2 8 gigabytes. So it's a dual channel Ripjaw Series G skill of 1600s, and they're 16 gigs altogether, and we're going to be adding that. It doesn't really match color coordination wise with this black and red motherboard, but it will do its job. So we have the plastic cover on top, which is removing. Here we go. Look at this beautiful board. It's a Gamer Series board, which is a higher end board. So let's go ahead and take it on out of its package.
Republic of Gamers.
Yes. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a ROG series ASUS freak. This is a rubberized heat shield over these, both of these right here. And there is a red line that lights up when you're going to power this mobile. We have our Easy Connect pin connectors, which is very, very simple, as Alex pointed out earlier on his motherboard. He's like, what a bunch of wires, so this makes it a lot easier when we're going to plug it in. Here's our 6.0 SATA 3 cables. We get 3 of these cables, which may be enough. Of course, we have our handy dandy user guide, which is, we're not going to take a really look at it. We have our I/O shield, which he was asking, do we need to replace the old one? Yes, you do, and they give you your own Gamers Republic, which has a nice shield on it, by the way. It's very high end.
No,
we have the same one that I have on my door, except mine's a little bit different with MSI, but his is a do not disturb. He's playing some games, so very, very cool, right? We always need that do not disturb. And of course, one of my favorite stickers, which helps us to keep organized and tell what's what and who's who. So, and that's for our peripherals, by the way. And we're going to go ahead and open up our Intel series CPUs.
Do you have a knife? Alright, it's alright, I got it.
So you can do that. And remember, we always want to test outside before you screw everything in, so we're going to test it inside the box. We'll hook up his power supply pins to this guy and plug it in, turn it on. If it gets to a post, then that means it works. We'll put it back into his case, and we'll be rock solid. So now he's taking just the fan out. That's the stock fan, which we'll be replacing soon. We just ordered a new one. There's a CPU on the top. It's pulling out. We have the 1150 chipset here. I'm just going to leave it like so. We don't need to do anything quite yet. And go ahead and take out the RAM. That one's not very hard. You just pull it apart. Very good. All right. So we can go ahead and install the RAM real quick. You want to put on your anti-static wrist thingy here so we don't dissipate any more static, because when you take things out of plastic, it generates a lot of static for some reason, of course. And we're going to move this guy's up here. Yes, so if you have an anti-static mat or a wrist, please use it. Don't want to destroy anything we take our precautions. That way, if you have to send a ROI in, you know, you took all your precautions. So you're always going to want to put them in the first 2 slots. So it's going to, wait 1 second. We need to push these back and this back. So you're going to put them in these 2 channels here. You always put it closest to your CPU. And you'll line up turn around. You're going to line up the notches on either side on the board, onto the CPU board, if you guys got that. So he's got it in correctly. You're going to push one inside first. Nice and snug. Oh, you heard that click. That's what you want to hear. And these are always one-sided. The new boards always come with one. In the past, you had to do both. Now, it just one end goes in first, like he's doing so. And you're gonna hear snap. There we go. And it looks like they're in nice and securely. Nope, nope. There we go. So you may want to hear a dual snap. So you want to push on both sides, center, and on the top. Not quite yet for sure. And we're gonna go ahead and start and move this over to his computer case. We're going to plug in the CPU, the power supply, the PSU, into the CPU socket and into his 8-port socket, which is down here. So install. This is kind of our pre-test. So we're going to install the CPU here. The trick is to line this little corner gold spec to the left corner spec. So it's going to match up to this.
Okay.
Okay. So grab it on its sides.
Arrow.
Yep.
Okay, the gold. There it is.
There you go. There it is. And try not to wiggle it at all. Just as quick, as easy as possible. Yeah, he got it in there, just like that. Now put it down. And then push down. There you go. Perfect. Pull that out of your way. Very good. Push down. Push down, push down. It feels weird, I know. And there it goes. So now our CPU is installed correctly, no doubt. Very good. Alright, so now we got to put our RAM's already installed. We're good. So we're going to go ahead and power this back on and see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, it booted up to the post screen. As you can see, we have our motherboard power supply. Alex accidentally plugged in a 6-pin. Which sometimes does work, by the way, but it wasn't plugged in all the way, and when we hit the power, it didn't boot up. So use your P4 connectors, put them together. They're separate. They're actually meant for GPUs, but since his motherboard's newer, we're gonna have to plug in a higher end power cable. So you're gonna have to stick them together. Then it makes a total of 8 pins, right? And then it booted up just fine. So we're gonna go ahead and turn that off. Okay. And we're going to put it into this motherboard now. We know it works. Here we go. So here we have on our left-hand side the previous motherboard, which it still works, and we're going to probably use for something else as a project. It is an MSI. Here is our ASUS Gamers Republic new Maximus Hero Edition. So what a difference. What a beast. And higher end qualities, higher capacitors, higher heat shields. We have a start and restart to do your BIOS in the event you have different settings and you have different profiles. You have a MemOK check. This does not have anything fancy of that nature. It only has dip switches for OC switches and a power button for the Mobo. But that's about it. Oh, I never talked to you about the Sound FX card. So basically this has a 7.1 surround sound capabilities. Here is your I/O. Your input outputs. So you have a VGA port display. We have a DVI port display. We have a dual combo wombo mouse and keyboard connector, 2 USBs, an optical HDMI, which he'll be using for his TV. We have our BIOS button on the outside, which mine does not have. That is rather cool. So you can switch your profile clicking this. Here is your at least ASUS, quote-unquote, proprietary network switch that they use. We have four 3.0 USBs, which also do backward compatibility. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, here's your 7.1 surround sound. That is the Sound FX card that is making this work. You have your regular BIOS chips. And you clear your CMOS in the event you need to. And you can check your sound state. On here we have 8 SATA 6.0, and you can. So eventually, what I would suggest is if he probably grabbed like 2 SSDs and RAID zeroed them, and boy, he would be smoking on any profile on anything. So that'd probably be a next upgrade for future projects on this board. All right. So we took off the IO shield. Alex just mentioned this thing. Old ones are just plastic, aluminum, not even aluminum. They're just really bad. So right now he's undoing the new IO shield. Gamers Republic has a padding and everything. It just feels gorgeous and very well made. What a difference, right, Alex? Yeah. Look at that. That's so shiny. And look at Gamer Republic even. Okay, so your IO shields always face that way. He's got it in correctly. And what we're going to do is you always put in one end first, and then the other end. Oops. Here, I'll pause it. So now he's just checking in to make sure it's nice and snug. Look at that. It looks so much better. Looks like it's in there nice and securely. Yes, it is. So now he's going to go ahead and grab this motherboard and put it in there. So now the trick is he's going to go in from the side. Here, let's take off the cables. Do it like a scooping motion. He's going to try to line these up into the IO shield as best as he can. He's going to let it set down, and then we'll try to wiggle it in there. Ah, he did a good placement. Then you're going to try to line up the little pins on the board. He's going to do his best, like he's trying to right there. You can kind of see. There he goes. That looks a little bit better. You just got to push it in more. Now that it's in there like that and snug, oh, he did a good job. So like you can see in the corner here, it lined up. So you're just going to make sure that's the case. We're going to go ahead and give him some screws to put into his new motherboard. We're going to go black, actually. I have black screws to kind of match. So I just had to make a mention. They did not include any screws with this motherboard. So you may have to use your old ones, which kind of suck because I like black because it's black. So we're going to give him some stuff. Easy pin connectors, go ahead and take them out of the packaging tape. We're going to go ahead and find this guy, which is on all motherboards. Okay, these are controlling power switches, reset switch. What else do we have? Oh, your LEDs for the front of your bezel. And what else do we have here? And your hard drive LEDs, the little blinking lights that you see on the front of your screen. So how you do this is you're going to use the main one first. This is power, ground, and reset, and HD LED. You're going to plug them into here so they match up. And so go ahead and take that. We'll do this in front of the camera. And you're just going to match them up for what the settings say. They go on the top.
Gotcha. Okie dokie, so this is power SW.
You got it. Perfect.
Just like that.
Yep.
Okay, and then HDD LED, positive and negative.
And you want to go facing you when you're
Facing
doing that.
me.
Yep. The lettering you're going to face you.
Like this?
Yeah, you got it.
There
Cool.
we are. And then the reset and ground.
Cool. Then you'll turn it around. There you go. That's if you have, what are these two front ones here?
These ones are positive and negative.
There you go.
Okay, there we are.
So right now he's putting in the power LED positive and negatives. So again, like I mentioned to him, you make sure the lettering is facing you. You can always make sure you're guaranteed a proper connection. And there he goes. And then he's going to plug that into match up with the front. Here, can I see the pins real quick?
Yeah, I'm just making sure it's in there all the way.
Yeah, that's fine. So you're going to match these holes up with the holes on that motherboard, which I think is the very first one down there. This one right there. Yep. I think you got it in there. Perfect. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So that takes the complication out of this work. Usually that's the hardest part. And if you have any USBs that go up to the front, this is the time to connect them too. So we're going to find that in all our SATA drives. And you're going to want to make sure that it's number 1. It doesn't label it, but we'll turn on the motherboard and it will tell us which of these SATA ports are number 1. They're labeled 1 through 8, and each one has its own variation for when you set up like RAID storage, which is what we're going to do in the future. Alright, so now we're installing the GPU card, and now push more on this one. There you go. Now push down straight. Awesome. Our 6-pin connectors, they're going to make sure that the clip is on that side. You're going to hear a snap. There it goes. You're going to put your other one. He has to find it. There it is, I believe. Hopefully it's not the Mobo one.
It's the 6-pin.
Good. So 6-pin connectors into a GTX Gamers card. You'll probably get the R9 series later on in the future here. There you go. There's a snap. I heard it. Good. So now he's going to screw in the GPU, make sure it's in place, and we'll go ahead and power up the rest of this bad boy. And the Mobo connector, that's the one I was telling you about. It was separated originally. This is the P4. So go ahead and plug it in. Let's see if I can get it.
It's kind of a tight fit here. Long. There we go.
Is it in securely? I heard the snap.
I heard one
yep,
snap.
it's good. It's in.
You sure?
Yes, I'm for sure. No, it's not. The right one isn't. The left is good.
That's what I thought. Where's that screwdriver?
Oh no, it's in. Your 16-pin connector, I think this one's 24 actually, so or 18. Each one's dependent on variations of your motherboard, but this is a newer one, so it has higher pins, of course. Next upgrade we probably want to suggest is getting a different power supply unit. This one's kind of old, but it will do its job right now. As we noted, it worked just fine. You know, upgrades are nice, and that's what's cool about custom boards, is that you can do them later on in life and continue to put upgrades on them, which is why I like custom build boards, because they're future-proof for the next generations to come, at least for another 2 more generations, and then he'll probably have to upgrade his Mobo again in like 5 to 6 years and get the newer standard edition, which probably be in our lifetime. We'll probably have quantum computing by that time in the Mobo version, hopefully in like 10 years.
Looking forward to the first PQC. All
okay,
right.
so now we're going to plug in our peripheral power, which we need this one up here, which is this guy, one of these guys, for your DVD or CD drive. You can also have card readers if you have one. Make sure you plug those in, and they'll be good. Very good. It looks like we're in. Everything's plugged up, so we're going to go ahead. Any necessary fans that needed to be plugged in. Now we see this cool red LED coming down. That's kind of like my board, except it goes all the way across, which is cool. That's how gamer boards usually do now. So now let's go to the post and see if we have a screen. Oh, yes, turn it on. Okay, so you hit the power button and it's powering on. As you can see, this fan is spinning. Things are churning.
Numbers are doing things.
Oh, we didn't plug anything in, so that's why we're not seeing anything. We are smarter than this, I swear, people. It's okay.
Plug in the motherboard or the graphics card?
Plug in his VGA cord. We're going to plug in his keyboard, and then eventually, once we get everything set up, we'll plug in his TV, as that's his monitor currently. Top. Those are 3.0. Top up by the, there you go, the PS2. That's a PS2 port. Those are the regular USB 2.0s, which you're going to want anyways. So we're gonna want to go ahead and restart this guy. Quick documentation. We had to unplug his EVGA GTX 460. It did not like it for whatever reason. We will probably plug in his GTX 610 or GT 610 graphics card. You get F1 to get past this menu right here. Oops, we should probably went to your setup. Oh, there it goes. It went to your setup anyways. This is what it looks like. We're gonna go ahead and make sure everything's correctly here. So we have our 3.9, which is correct. CPU frequency, GPU graphics, which is the Intel one it's recognizing, is 1250, which is actually higher than what it claims on the box, so that's cool. Everything's set correctly. We're going to go ahead and turn on, here, you want to aim this at that real quick? I'm going to turn on virtual CPU real quick so we can have this ready for when we do where it is. So this is a IVT, which is for virtualization. Well, he's going to do a Hackintosh, so good, everything's good. Okay, if you want to see what your temperatures are, there's our temperatures running very good at 32 degrees Celsius, perfectly within range. Okay, we're going to save changes and reset. Okay. And then we'll go through this boot. And since it was an AMD hard drive at one time, it's going to say configurations need to take place. It'll switch over to an Intel. My suggestion in the future, if you do that, I always like doing a backup and then of an image and then recover onto a Intel processor because he may run into issues in the future. And if that's the case, you can always take a backup of his current settings and then restore it. We're going to have to install his motherboard CD drive, and the reason why we're going to be doing that is because it has all his pertinent driver information, which is necessary to make his new computer understand and read all the new settings like 7.1 surround sound, HDMI, DVI support, etc. And 3.0 USB configuration. So, all right, thank you very much for viewing. And if you have any questions, like us if you like us, dislike if you dislike us. If you have more than 2 feelings, then comment. Please insert Jurassic Park theme right now. Check this out. Just kidding. Alright, so we have a Hackintosh perfectly working on his Windows 8/10 machine, but pretend you didn't hear that. And so there's the Windows 8/10 and here is his Windows, or his Hackintosh. We had to do little tricks and now it works just perfectly. So thank you for viewing and sticking in there. And we're going to show you the finished project from the side angle, by the way. So we have blue and red going on, which is kind of funky. We have your temperatures at the top. We have our blueness going on there. We have our red inside with the Gamers Republic looks slick. So maybe one day things will be all together. We'll show you the finished project. But yes, if you guys are interested, please give us a shout out and we'd be glad to help you at whatever your computer build or computer need is. Thank you for viewing.